Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Cabin Checks. Now, today's episode might be a little controversial. I don't know. You're going to have to tell me in the comments if you agree or not. But today's episode is all about this concept of failure. Is it okay to fail? Should we learn through failures? Is failure something that we should run towards so that we fail fast, that we fail forward, and then we can quickly and easily learn from that and move forward? How do we do it? How do we attack this concept of failure? And I think this ties into an even bigger discussion on, have we gotten soft as a society? Are we just a little too comfortable with, no, it's okay. Failure happens to everybody. It's okay. Learn from it. Move forward. We don't want you to be offended. Are you hurt? Are you okay? Have we gotten too far into that mentality as a society of protecting everybody and lowering the standards in the process? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it today. So here's what I want to lead off with in terms of this topic. And that is, when I was an athlete, right? What we learned very, very quickly was that the consequences for failure scale as your level of proficiency and difficulty increases. Meaning, if you want to play the game at a low level, whatever the level is, I'll take my sport of gymnastics, for example. If you want to play at a low level and you want to learn how to do a cartwheel, the margin for error is very, very large, right? If you're learning to do a cartwheel and you fall over, sure, you might get a couple of bumps and bruises, you might get a scrape here or there, but the odds of you being catastrophically injured to where it changes the trajectory of your life, very, very, very low if you're learning a cartwheel. So if you're gonna play at that level, there's not too much risk. Failure is much more tolerable, right? Now, fast forward to elite level gymnastics. This actually is no longer a skill anymore. It's been outlawed and banned by the governing body of gymnastics. But when I was competing, there were these skills called rollout skills. And one of the most popular ones was called a Thomas. And what that means is you're gonna do a full and a half twist, so one flip, and you're rotating along the x-axis 1.5 times. So I'm twisting this way as I'm flipping. The difference is I'm doing a 1.5 flip. So usually when you say it's a back 1.5, it means you're doing one flip from feet to feet and 1.5 twists on the way down in that one piece of air. A Thomas was the same thing, but instead of landing on your feet, you would skip your feet, do an extra half of a flip, land hands first and roll, like ninja style, out of that flip. So you would literally land, tuck and roll, okay? That is a skill that has paralyzed people. It's killed people in the past. And so if you make a mistake on that particular skill, it's not like a cartwheel. Failure is not tolerable. Failure is not acceptable. Failure, the margin for error is incredibly small. And the consequences of failure are incredibly high, right? And so what we learn from that is that if you want to play the game at the highest levels, the tolerance for failure gets lower and lower and lower and lower as you increase in skill and proficiency and what is at stake, right? So for example, if you are investing a couple grand into the stock market, your tolerance for failure is probably pretty high, right? Because your worst case scenario, maybe something goes down by 50%, you're out 1,000 out of the 2 that you put in. That sucks, but it's not the end of the world, right? If you're a hedge fund manager with $50 billion assets under management and you make a mistake and something drops by 50%, all your investors are going to be for your head, right? Your company's gone, your reputation's gone, you're never gonna work on Wall Street ever again, you're never gonna work in the financial sector again, all your money's gone, your yacht's gonna get repossessed, like everything's just done in your life if that happens, right? So the margin for error continues to decrease the higher and higher the level at which you play the game. So that's a really important concept to understand. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is that for the truly great, for the people who want to play whatever their game is at the highest level, failure is not tolerable at all. Failure is not an option at all. Failure is an incomprehensible idea. It is completely and utterly unacceptable. All this fail forward, fail fast, learn from failure, absolutely not. Would you think that Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan would say, yep, I love to fail because I'm learning from it. And like, it's this new age entrepreneurial mindset. Fail forward, fail fast. Really? Go look at the greats. Go look at Tom Brady. Go look at Kobe. Go look at MJ. What would they say to a statement like that? You should fail. Matter of fact, you should try and fail. As long as you learn from it, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Now, here's the caveat to that. Let's go back to the gymnastics example. Let's say I'm doing that skill, the Thomas, and let's say that I was off by a couple of degrees, right, in my rotation angle. And a couple of degrees can literally be the difference between life and death on a skill like that, depending on how you impact the ground. So let's say I was a couple of degrees off, I over-rotated, and I basically land on my back, right? Thank God, it's way better to do that than it is to be under-rotated, land on your neck. So I'm okay. Now, obviously, like I said, because of the level at which I'm playing the game, failure is non-negotiable, it's unacceptable, but it still happened anyway. Unfortunately, with the way that life is set up, even those of us who have that mentality that failure is completely and utterly unacceptable, it's still gonna happen every once in a while. It is a simultaneous mentality of failure is completely and utterly unacceptable, along with, if for any reason it happens, I have to rebound immediately. I have to get back to normal immediately. I have to reset immediately, right? Because what's gonna happen in that gymnastics example is if you sit there on the ground and you think, oh my God, I almost could have paralyzed myself right there, now you're done for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe forever. You're not doing that skill again. You have to get up, immediately run back to the other end of the floor and try it again. So simultaneously, we have to be able to conceptualize that failure is not acceptable under any circumstances, and we will do everything in our power to avoid it no matter what. And also, if due to circumstances outside of our control, or even if there was a gap in our preparation and unfortunately we messed something up and it was our fault and we had a failure, we have to get back up and learn from it immediately. And we can't put too much stock in the fact that we failed, because as soon as we get back in that other corner and we start thinking, oh my God, the last time I almost died, I'm so scared, how am I gonna do this again? You're done, right? And so you've got to be able to simultaneously have these two attitudes of failure is unacceptable, but if it's gonna happen, I'm gonna bounce back quickly, right? I don't know why I've been on a spiritual kick lately, but it's so funny to me because a lot of believers, when they hear me talk about this, they'll say, well, yeah, but you shouldn't be so hard on yourself, right? I thought we're supposed to have grace and mercy and we're supposed to forgive ourselves and forgive others. And it's like, yeah, but are you telling me that the same Bible, because here's the thing, people think in binaries. They think all in or all out. They don't think that we can have two belief systems that might seem to conflict on the surface, but in reality coexist very peacefully together. And so what'll happen is, you know, they'll say, oh, well, I don't understand how we can hold those two beliefs simultaneously. It says, wait a minute. Let's go to the Bible, see what it says. It says, if you do this sin, this sin, this sin, this sin, this sin, then you will die. Unequivocal, like no questions asked, no vagueness, no room for interpretation. It says, you dead, you out of here, you done. Goodbye. Exit stage left if you commit these sins. And then in the very next passage, it says, but if you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, then you will be atoned for all your sins and you'll have everlasting life. So are you telling me that it's impossible to be incredibly hard on yourself and have incredibly high standards while also being very forgiving of yourself? Because if that's what you're trying to say, then you're going directly against what God was trying to say. Just my opinion. The point of this is we've got to get out of this idea that failure is okay. We got to get out of it. And we can take a lot of the good things that this movement of it's okay, everything's fine, work on it, learn for the next time, that softer mentality, we can take a lot of the good from that and put it in that bucket of forgiveness, grace, and mercy and resetting quickly. But on the front end, we still need to have the mentality. It's almost like having two separate minds that you switch between. Until something goes wrong, your only thought is failure is unacceptable. At the point when something does go wrong, then and only then can we say, okay, now it's time to go to plan B. How do we give ourselves grace, mercy, forgive ourselves, and reset quickly? All right, that's my opinion on failure. That's my opinion on how we should use it. And I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. And I will also say this, it depends on the context that you're going after. In a sports environment, in a competitive environment, in a business environment, I fully believe in everything that I just said. In an entrepreneurial environment, if the goal is to learn rather than get results, this just came to me, this is really good. If the goal is to learn, fail forward, fail fast, fail quick, learn from it, and iterate as fast as you can. I completely agree. If the goal is to learn, if the goal is results, if the goal is to win, which people have it's like, oh, you can't make that your goal. You can't want to win. You can't want to beat anybody and compete. Stupid. If the goal is to win in business, sports, or any other competition, then that's the mindset that we just talked about where failure is unacceptable. That's how I would separate those two. That's how I think that we get the best of both worlds. But I want to know what you think. Leave me a comment down below and let's talk about it. And above all, if you got value from this, please share this with somebody else. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next episode of Cabin Checks. Peace.